Today, friends, I'm going to be doing a part 2 to the crossbow I made in my last video. The first thing I'm going to do is write down my name on this crossbow and the date I built it in using a wood burner. This is what I wrote on my crossbow. The next thing I'm going to do, friends, is to take this piece of wood I cut out and glue it right here. This will make sure the string always hits the arrow when I shoot it, and I can kind of put a little iron sight on the back so I can aim it more carefully and be more accurate with my crossbow. Now, friends, that my top iron sight mount has dried and I put a nail in instead of a screw because the screw kept going in crooked, I'm going to add on a little stock / pistol brace onto my crossbow, so I can kind of use it as a cheek weld, or I can kind of use it as a mini stock. So I'm going to cut it off about here, around there, and then I will come back and glue it with you guys, and it should be pretty good. And then once it's dry, I'll kind of rasp and file it down and make it nice and smooth. Now, friends, that I've cut out my stock / pistol brace, I am going to rasp and file it down to shape. Okay, friends, now I'm going to glue my pistol brace / stock onto my crossbow. Now we will let this dry for about 2 hours. Now, friends, our next step is to make our crossbow more powerful. The first thing we are going to need is another longer strip of plywood. You want this strip to be about 20 inches long. You're also going to want a second strip of plywood about 13 inches long. First thing we're going to do up here, when you cut the main body of it out, if it wasn't straight up here, take a square and make a straight line. Now that we have the top of our bow mapped out, it is time to figure out the width and figure out what shape we want it to be. On our old bow that went onto our crossbow, it was 1.5 inches wide at the center. So we are going to make this bow also 1.5 inches wide at the center, and then we'll taper out to 1/2 inch at each end. Now that we have put a mark 1.5 inches from the top of our bow, it's time to measure 1/2 inch down from the top, and then we'll put a mark. Actually, we're going to measure 1 inch down from the top, not 1/2 inch. Now that we have a mark 1 inch down from the top on each side, it is time to take a square like this. Take a square and make a line from here down to 1/2 inch from the center. This is what our bow should roughly look like when we are done. Now that we have done this, it is time to cut it out. Now, friends, that I have cut out my new bow that's a little longer, our second piece of wood, we need to find the middle of it and put a line there. And then you need to take the bow we just made and find the middle line that should still be there. And then set this piece of wood, your bow, on top of your second piece and line up the middle line of our bow and the middle line of our other piece of wood. Once you do that, take your pencil and outline your bow onto your new piece of wood. This is what it should look like when you are done. Now we will cut this piece of wood out. Now we are going to take our main bow, and we are going to take some glue and smear it all over the bow. Now we will smear it with our fingers. Now that we have smeared glue over the whole bow, it is time to take some fiberglass tape and cover it in that. Now we will let this dry for about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, friends, our next step is to take our bow and our other piece of plywood cut out, and then we're going to put some glue on our smaller piece of plywood and glue it onto our main bow. Now we will wait an hour. Our next step, friends, will be to make a notch in the middle of our bow for the arrow, and then we will need to cut some notches at the end of our bow on both sides for the string to latch onto. The next step, friends, is to string our bow. You will need a piece of paracord, and the first thing I'll do is tie a loop in one end. And then you'll put it on the nock. Then you'll measure down to the tip of the bow. And then you'll tie another loop. And now you can string the bow. Like that. The next thing you'll need to do is to cut the piece of paracord and use a lighter to burn the edges. Okay, friends, the next step is, after our bow is dried, to take some duct tape and wrap it in that. This will make it stronger. Or shooting your crossbow and your front ridge brakes, you should take a screwdriver, an electric screwdriver, and drill a hole through the middle of your bow and then drive a screw through it. This will hold it pretty securely. Now, friends, it is time to test shoot this new improved crossbow. The projectile I will be shooting will be pencils. crossbow can shoot nerf darts, and it can also shoot steel balls. Now I will show you what it looks like when shooting nerf darts. Now we have a nerf dart loaded into our crossbow. As you can see, it shoots much faster than a pencil because it's much lighter. If you are shooting nerf darts, you can also use your crossbow in a nerf war, but it is pretty slow to reload, so I wouldn't recommend it. Now, friends, I will show you what this crossbow can do shooting steel balls. Okay, friends, how you load this crossbow using a steel ball is first you cock it back and everything. Then you take a 1/2 inch steel ball and you simply roll it down until it stops naturally. Then all you have to do is shoot it how you would with an arrow or a nerf dart. As you can see, it shoots with a lot more velocity and a bit more knockdown power than a nerf dart or a pencil. Now I will show you how far each of these projectiles can shoot. Okay, friends, the first projectile I will start with for a range test is just a regular old pencil. As you can see, that doesn't go very far at all. Next, I will be using a steel ball that I have painted orange. That went even less than the pencil went. Now let's try a nerf dart. The first style of nerf dart I will be using is just these regular nerf darts. As you can see, the nerf dart beat all the projectiles by at least 5 yards or so. The next nerf dart I'll be using is one of these nerf darts that has a different tip on it. And we'll see how far this goes. As you can see, the nerf darts just about hit exactly the same place, and the steel ball was the closest to me, and then the pencil was just about in the middle of all of them. So if you want to shoot longer range and not hurt anything, I advise using some nerf darts, but it can also shoot pencils, pens, and steel balls. Also, you can shoot plastic little rubber balls or something like that if you want to. Thank you, friends, for watching this week's video on part 2, how to make the simplest crossbow ever. Hope you learned a thing or two, and don't forget to smash that subscribe and like button.